everyone, Adam here, So Wizard Podcast. I have another interview for you today. I got to sit down with writer, director, creator, guy kinda does it all, Joshua Reale. Josh is actually in New York, like myself, and he runs a horror experience. COVID and everything, and the off season. He wanted to do something more with his love for horror, and he decided to jump into movies. Actually, I'm pretty sure it worked backwards. He wanted to do movies, didn't really know how to go about doing that, and thought a horror experience would be a cool thing because he makes it kind of an interactive story. He talks all about it. I don't need to go into more detail on that. He also has an escape room, which he runs more like an interactive story. So he's definitely a storyteller. And the fact that he didn't know the traditional way into movies, if there is one, kind of works in his benefit because his new movie, Necropath, does not follow any formula I've ever seen. And it's a very cool watching experience. And I do mean the word experience because it feels more like you're experiencing what he's giving you than just watching a movie. Check out the interview, Joshua Reale, really cool guy, and check out Necropath on VOD. Hey everyone, Adam here, So Wizard Podcast. I'm sitting down with Joshua Reale. How you doing, Josh?
Not bad. How about you, Evan?
Doing good. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
I should ask ahead of time, Josh or Joshua?
Either way.
Okay. Just making sure. You do have a new movie coming out, Necropath, but before we get there, I always like to go way back and ask people how you got into directing. It also looks like you do art directing and concept, and you do a lot more than directing.
I do a Halloween attraction called KO Industrial Horror Realm, and I started that when I was 22, I think, and just been doing that for 18 years. And I've always wanted to do filmmaking in between, and so just kind of eventually, finally, just ended up being able to make my first full-length horror film, Necropath, and here we are.
That's awesome. So the attraction was prior to the film career,
right? Yep. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, what sparked that? Because that's logistically a massive undertaking.
Yeah. So when I was in college, I was trying to figure out how to monetize my artwork somehow. And I wanted to do filmmaking and acting, and I wanted to do set design and graphic design. And I want to do everything all at once. And I'm like, how do I encapsulate all this into one thing? And so I kind of just stayed on my love of horror and just did this horror realm kind of vision that I had, and just kind of went along with it every year and jumped into it, didn't know what I was getting into, and learned a lot along the ways. And, being a creative person, you don't really think about stuff like fire codes and building code and stuff like that. So I had to learn all that along the way. And then that branched off into different things, and like filmmaking. So
trial by fire, just jump right in.
Right. Yeah.
So your art, I mean, I see a lot of pieces behind you. Do you sculpt? Do you paint? Do you draw? All the above?
I used to draw when I was little, Ninja Turtles, but I don't do that so much anymore.
All right.
I can barely draw stick figures now, but everybody was laughing at me on Necropath. All the thumbnail sketches of when you're shooting the scenes and stuff like that, they're they're really, really horrendous looking sketches. But yeah, as far as other stuff, I do sculpture stuff. Like I actually made this. It's a character from Necropath.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, it's a little statue I made for him. He's the main character in Necropath, Skaggs. But I did do like industrial design kind of stuff, and yeah, I made the posters and artwork for the film. Do another attraction called the Atrophy Escape Board. That's an escape room. Yeah.
You mentioned the escape room right before we started recording, and you did a big Valentine's Day special. So what is your escape room like? I'm guessing it's horror themed.
Yeah, so with that, my approach to everything, like whether it be like a Halloween attraction or a film, like a horror film or escape room, I always try to think of my own twist on things. So like with the escape room, it's not just a room you get put in. You have to like figure out how to get out. It's more of an elaborate like it's like being in a theater, and you're part of the production. And it's based on an old asylum, 1920s asylum. And again, it's called Atrophy, a skateboard in Rome, New York. And so you get pretty much immersed in it right from the get-go. Like when the people are trying to find the building, like their comments when they're over with, there's like, yeah, trying to find the building, we felt like it was part of the experience itself, because we don't really make it like, we don't have like big signs up that says Atrophy a skateboard, enter here. We have like a low, like a red light on a building in the middle of nowhere that people drive around. They're like, I think this is it. There's no cars anywhere. So that's with Atrophy a skateboard. And then with say Necropath, my take on zombies, I didn't want to just make like a normal zombie film. I took Necropath and the direction following this Skag character, and I combined the idea of like addiction and extreme, like addicts in the bowels of society, just who kind of look like zombies, after a while of doing this for so long. And I correlated that with zombies themselves, and threw a pandemic in the middle of it, and that's where Necropath came about. So.
Nice. I saw on your IMDb that there was necropaths, plural. Was that the short you did, and then
Yep.
Is that what you expanded on?
Yeah, so Necropath started in 2014 for a contest, and it was a zombie film contest, coincidentally. And so I didn't want to make, like I was saying, I didn't want to make a normal zombie film, so I made the idea based on this Skag character. And because normal zombie films, they don't really focus on the zombie itself. It's usually like the people running from the zombies themselves. So I wanted to focus kind of a story on him. And the way Necropath goes, it's like there's like kind of a couple of characters in there, but like one's like a crackhead kind of woman who she kind of lost her bait, or like when the family that Skag encounters ravages the whole family and kills everyone but the little girl, and there's a little baby who's left there, and this crackhead kind of woman just steals the baby, and she's obsessed with this baby somehow. And I wanted people to write their own story, like because people are like, why does she want the baby so much? But I wanted to leave that for viewer interpretation. But yeah, the idea with Necropath is just I wanted to go off the mainstream idea of the normal zombie film. So
yeah, I definitely think you accomplished that, because it had a very unique vibe to it. One following the zombie character more than the others, like you were saying, was cool. And it's weird because it's going to sound like a weird comparison, because it gave me a lot of vibes of the original Night of the Living Dead. Mm-hmm. Not so much in how you shot or anything, of course, because you cranked it, the adrenaline way up. But almost like it was like a lot of vignettes of the survivors getting away from the zombies, but instead of following them, like you were saying, you followed the zombie. So I don't know why Night of the Living Dead kept coming into my head, but it just had that kind of like, oh, here's a zombie thing we haven't seen before.
Right. What's pretty crazy is I've never seen Night of the Living Dead before.
Oh, really?
I've never seen Dawn of the Dead. Anything of the Dead, I've never seen it. The only zombie movie I've actually seen is 28 Days and 28 Weeks Later. So
that makes a little bit of sense, because you don't have the slow moving, brainless zombies.
Right, yeah. So.
All right. Well, that's even more interesting that there was no inspiration from from Romero.
Yeah, cool, I get a lot of my inspiration comes from like just listening to music, like the images it gives you, like horror music or horror music, like death metal and heavy metal, stuff like that, and droning kind of atmospheric music. Just sit there and let it play in your head, and the visuals you see, and kind of just run with it. So.
All right, that's a cool approach. So it's not so much planned out and your version of something. It's literally all pulled from your head. It's, I mean,
Right.
it's inspired by things, but there's no like, oh,
Right.
I liked what they did in this, so I'll borrow that. Like, none of that.
Right.
Very
Right.
cool. Is that what the original Necropath, what your goal was, to follow the zombie, or is that how it came about, or was it more you had a bunch of images in your head and
Yeah, I just thought the idea of the Skag character and Mo Isaac, the way he portrayed Skag exactly how I envisioned in my head, if not better. Like his performance in Necropath itself, it just blew me away.
yeah,
Like
he was pretty intense.
yeah, and just also the way going about Necropath and filmmaking itself. Just the style Necropath was shot. Like I kind of didn't really follow any formula with filmmaking. Like, oh, we need to do these kind of shots or this kind of sound design. I just kind of just went however I felt making a film would be. And a lot of people say it's like, wow, it's like a sensory overload with watching the film. And uh, cool.
Yeah. You definitely nailed a tone and atmosphere, it being
Yeah.
something unique also, because it
Mhm.
kicks off at, top speed and it doesn't slow down. You
Right.
don't get 45 minutes in and then have like, okay, let's give our characters a break for 20 minutes, do an exposition dump, talk about it. It's all just on.
Mhm.
Really
Yeah, and
cool stuff.
I was just say the tone of it and just the like some people commented about like the audio in the back, and it's just like I like listening to people's interpretations of it. They say like uh the audio almost makes you feel like you're in the mind of the main killer, Skag, throughout the whole film, because at the end it's just like it's a like immediate release. I can't really give it away at the end, but
Right.
yeah, a lot of people after like the ending scene happens, they like people are like, "Wow, I'm actually sweating." Someone said that to me. It's like pretty
it
cool.
it does kind of immerse you in that way that you're getting hit, like you said, sensory overload. You're getting hit from every angle, and you're also forced to kind of experience the feel of the movie along with watching the movie. Whether you're
Mm-hmm.
watching Skaggs, your main character, or any of the people he interacts with, you're in their shoes because it's so pummeling you at all times. And I mean these as compliments.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, it was totally unique when I was getting into it. I kept trying to figure it out, but you don't really figure it out.
Right. And the big thing with Necropath too is we had like a very limited budget, but at the same time, I didn't want to make another hokey zombie film. As one a review said it, like this Necropath is not another zombie movie clogging up Amazon Prime or something like that.
Perfect.
That was a cool compliment. But like we had limited budget, but at the same time, I didn't want to make like a cheesy, low budget looking kind of thing with like hokey actors and stuff like that. I wanted to make something unique, something people remember, and a character
Yeah.
where I kind of remember. And a lot of people get that from Necropath, because yeah, it's like saying the weird angles, like I think they're normal angles, but people are saying the angles, a lot of the scenes are shot in, and just the sounds and everything together combined. It just makes it its own film. So I wanted, yeah, to get more of a professional looking as we could. So
It never felt like you were shooting around money. It just kind of felt to me that given your main character, he wouldn't be hanging out in the city center with all the
right.
well put together people who were the first ones to evacuate. He'd be picking up the stragglers. So it all folds in, and it never feels like you were like, oh, I don't have the money for this shot. Let's go over here.
Yeah. So
What did you shoot it with?
it's funny. I have it's sitting right here. DSLR.
Oh, okay.
Yep, Canon.
Nice.
We were doing shots yesterday with at my escape room, shooting a commercial actually for it, and it's sitting right here actually. So
Oh, that's
uh,
awesome. Okay.
yeah, so yeah, we did it on DSLR, and the audio we just kind of did it from multiple sources. The lighting on that can even get into.
Okay, because that was my next question: is how much digital manipulation on like coloring and lighting did you end up doing? But it seems like you
um,
had a physical setup.
yeah. I do a lot of things very experimentally and non-traditionally, how I guess normal filmmakers would do it. And I guess a lot of people like colorize the scenes afterwards, or I just kind of not knowing a lot about filmmaking and like the proper way of doing things. I just kind of how I thought they would should be done, and I just did them that way. So, and I guess
Nice.
it was good because I achieved my own results. So,
Yeah, you got the look you wanted, so that's
yeah,
perfect. Yeah,
yeah,
because you said a handful of times now that the traditional way or how other people do it. I don't think that stuff matters so much anymore. It's
right.
with digital cameras, digital audio, and really affordable like at-home editing software.
Mm,
I don't think there needs to be a tradition anymore, which is good
yeah,
because people like you can set tradition. You can set a standard.
yeah, yep. And uh, I think anytime like here on out making more films, I definitely want to stay away from that cheesy like really bad CGI kind of stuff. Like I'm stuck in the 80s and 90s kind of horror movies. Where they did a lot more practical effects. So I'm kind of stuck in that zone. So I
I
didn't
think
think
that
that's what a
people
lot of
want
people like.
anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, a lot of people look for that anyway. So,
Yeah. No
but
one's scared if the monster looks like he's moving on rubber bands and it's just not natural flowing. They'd rather see a guy in a suit, even if you can see a little bit through the makeup. It's better
mm,
than, yeah.
yeah, like a lot of I don't know if you remember that movie, The Gate, way back in the day.
No,
With
I
all,
don't. Sorry.
yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, they did a lot of like puppets and stuff like that. It's pretty
Oh,
wild.
okay. I'll
Stop
have to check it out.
animation. Yeah, it's pretty neat. But yeah, I
Nice.
love movies like that and like RoboCop and The Thing. Where they actually use real effects and
Yeah. And the
bring
thing
the
is
look
one of
to
those
it.
staples too, for sure.
Because I think if
Nice.
you look at a movie and you see the CGI and you have to like be like, all right, that's CGI, but I'll just go along with it because it's real. I'll pretend it's real.
Mhm.
I think you just that kills the movie right there, in my opinion. So
That and if it looks good this year, what's it going to look like in 5 years or 10 years? I think the
yeah,
CGI instantly dates a movie, no matter how good.
yeah, yeah. So
Um, Going back a little bit from your directing on your IMDb page, you had so many credits for all different departments. So it looks like you've kind of had your hands in everything.
right.
Was that by design or just out of necessity?
Just like art department and stuff like that, like directing. Um, that's funny because I feel like I'm like one of the most inexperienced as far as being in the film industry itself. I never felt like I could actually immerse myself into the industry, like finding like, just maybe it's because of my location being, in central New York, but I never could really uh, jump on a bunch of film crew jobs and stuff like that. So I was always left to do things on my own, which I don't think this is a bad thing. But
No.
so, but
Yeah.
yeah, I worked on a couple of random like art departments mainly where I like to focus on. But as far as my own stuff, I like writing, directing, uh, all the above.
That way you get to do what you want to do, not what someone else
Yeah,
wants to do. Yeah.
yeah, like Necropath. I did the sound editing for it, and I edited the whole film, did the lighting for the whole film. My friend Jeff Orlowski, he did the cinematography, and I directed it when he did that. So, but
Nice. Okay. You mentioned the actor and how he delivered exactly what you want and maybe even heightened it a little bit. Where did you find him?
he was a friend of Jeff Orlowski at the time, and I met Jeff, who came to my Halloween attraction, which is in a big old abandoned warehouse, kind of looking thing. Like half of it was falling down. Um, and that's so like in a quarter of the building we shot. That's where my Halloween attraction was, and then the rest of the building is actually where we shot Necropath. But Jeff came to my attraction wanting to shoot a scene for a film, and when in the process of that, that's where I met Jeff and Mo, and we just started. I just met up with Jeff, and we had meetings and talking about doing filmmaking together, and I felt like that was uh, my what do I want to say, my way to get into filmmaking by networking with Jeff more,
Okay.
and and then we made Necropath from the zombie film contest, and that's how I met Mo Isaac, who is right there. Uh, We met him. He actually popped his teeth out we were working on one of Jeff's short film, and I was like looking. I was like, "What the hell did you just do?" And he's like, "Oh, I have dentures." I was like, "No way!" And I asked him right on the spot to be Skag and Necropath.
Nice. That's funny because it is one of those things that with someone who didn't go for it as much, it might not have had the same vibe at all.
Yeah, yep. And he feels like he's like kind of branded into that character, kind of like now, when we do any filmmaking forward, he doesn't feel like he'll fit into anything except the Skag character.
He's that
I guess
guy
kind
now.
of kind of like Robert Englund and Doug Bradley with Pinhead and Freddy.
Right. Yeah, not necessarily bad company to be with.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to see him in anything else but those characters.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Were you able to take it to any? I mean, I know last year was a ridiculously weird year for getting your art out there. Were you able to take it to any kind of film festivals or submit it at all, if you even wanted to?
Yeah, 2020 was the year we submitted to festivals, and then in the middle of the year, Kamikaze Dogfight got a hold of me about distribution, and I was like, "Wow, cool! You want to distribute film? Sure." and then the rest is history from there. I got networked with them, and then the film came out February 9th, and here we are.
When did you shoot it? 2019 then?
Yeah, we actually shot it from 2014 to 2018, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Necropath was shot in 3 shorts. So we did the first short for that zombie film contest, and it won first place in the award, or won first place in the contest. And then, so I'm like, wow, I really like working on this material. I'm like, I want to do another one. So I made another short, and then we submitted that one. That one won awards. Then we submitted part 3, and we after shooting all 3, then we put them together and just made a whole film out of it and submitted the whole film. And that's where the whole Necropath came about. So
that's really cool that you were able to use the original short. In my mind, you did a short and you're like, hey, this is cool. And then you maybe took some ideas from it and redid the whole thing. But it's cool that you were able to use it and just expand on it.
Yeah, I just incorporated all 3. There's a couple of things that nobody will notice in the film, but because we shot it like so far apart. Mm-hmm. Like the actors and stuff like that. Like Cassandra, just to give away a blooper. If you watch within the first 15 minutes, Cassandra's hair is down to here. And I think like when we shot the second one, she had her hair like cut to here. But
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
It's one of those things that nobody would really realize, but
right. That's funny. I was going to ask because it's like shot over 4 years and I didn't notice. It's not like your lead at the end of the movie looked drastically different than at the beginning. So he really kept it together.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Oh, yep. I think his hair changed a little too. I think his hair got longer. In the first one, I think his hair's down to here. And then, when he wakes up in the second one, I think it's a little longer. And the third one's a little longer.
It just kept going.
Yeah. But it's kind of like, you don't really kind of realize it because he's so like mangy looking.
Right. And he never really stops moving.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. A way to shoot something over 4 years like that.
Yeah.
Was that ever like driving you crazy? Like, is this thing ever going to see the light of day? Because you were probably so eager to make it, or.
Yeah, like it was just cool making each short and submitting to the film festivals. And like I said, I'm very unfamiliar with like film industry itself or submitting to festivals. And I was just kind of learning as I was going, and just research film festivals, send them out, and then made another one and get a little better with filmmaking. Like the third act of the film, I felt like we did a lot more things better. We did a lot more special effects and stuff like that. The special effects came out really well. Thanks to Callie Inman too. She was part of Jeff's crew that really helped out in the film a lot. So
very cool. Was there anything like special effects wise, or maybe something that one of your collaborators brought into the movie that wasn't straight out of your head, but you just loved it and threw it in?
No, I basically like with a script, like I'd be like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm gonna do. We need a knife, like to jab into somebody and stay there. I was like, I'm not sure. We have like 3 days to do the film, and Kelly would randomly send me a picture of some rigs she made up, and she just did it with all household kind of things, and yeah, she did a hell of a job. So
Awesome. So you just kind of wrote what you wanted and people helped you figure it out.
yeah, she made the like the intestines and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and then just basically I made it work with the like on set with the lighting and after editing it too, so to make it look more, because I wanted to make it look like as realistic as possible. So
Yeah, yeah.
so
Which is cool because the way it was shot and the lighting and the cutting, it never feels like you're hiding anything in the shadows or cutting away, but it
mhm.
also never looks silly. I'm
Yeah,
trying to think of a way to word it, but it never looks too ridiculous.
yeah, yeah, because I wanted the film to have a whole serious kind of tone. I didn't want to like take that like like the comedic, not comedic, but
Like the camp.
yeah, the campy kind of horror. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah.
not that. This is not lighthearted.
Yeah. So like when someone gets a knife jabbed in them, you want to hear it like sink into their skin.
Hmm.
Kind of. So
Yeah, you
uh,
did have the sound effects pumped up. Like it didn't get lost in the shuffler with the score. You definitely heard them all, like
yeah.
intentionally.
Like I think one once the decapitation scene, not to give anything away, but there's a decapitation scene, and it was like uh a whole combination of different sound effects that I used to achieve when the head comes right off. I wanted to hear it like torn off.
Yeah, yeah.
I did combine all these different sound effects together. Um, I think one of them was like a apple breaking or something like that, something with a watermelon. I forgot what it was, but just the sound of like the breaking off and stretching and stuff like that. So
How fun was that to put all that together?
it was amazing. Like lots of. I think it took 4 months to edit the film together. So um,
Yeah, it's a lot.
yeah,
A lot to take on, I mean.
yeah.
Very cool. Well, as a creative person, you probably get asked this a lot and you probably hate it, but I feel like I have to ask, what do you have lined up next?
Yeah. Uh, uh, so right before I did the KO Industrial Horror Realm Halloween attraction, my biggest thing when I got out of high school was I created this character that I've always been obsessed with, and I started making all these like short scripts about him. And I tried to shoot a couple like with my friends with one of those actually VHS cameras, and they came out like horrendous, but they were a lot of fun to shoot, and I really wanted to get into that. So as time went by, I'm like, there's no way I'm going to make this film. Like, I don't have, I thought I had needed like hundreds of thousands of dollars and a whole teams of people to make the films. And so I kind of was like, all right, well, what can I do now? So that's where the Halloween attraction came in. So I kind of set that project aside for the KO event. So then, so now that I'm in the position I'm in now, I kind of I'm bringing that character back and making the psychological horror film series out of it. So
Very cool.
I guess that's where we're at now.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you're kind
Yeah,
of making the best of all of us being locked inside.
yeah, and I want to make another Necropath as well. I know that like it ended the way it did, but I was kind of thinking about doing multiple kind of necropaths as kind of just like if you're watching a cartoon or something, like you see a character like I always refer to the South. I don't really watch South Park, but like Who Killed Kenny kind of thing. Like you watch
Hmm.
another South Park episode, you're not like, wait, Kenny died in the last one.
Right. You're not looking
I
for
don't know.
continuity.
Yeah, I just wanted like as when you watch another Necropath, you're just watching another, it's like watching another episode, but in this case, it's a movie. So
Yeah, it's like a Necropath anthology kind of deal.
yeah, yeah,
Very
and
cool.
yeah, and that's the idea I want to go with the horror character that I created, the series that I'm looking to do next. So is do more of a creep show kind of approach to it. So
Nice. Yeah, I think a lot of that stuff is making a comeback because people want the content and they don't really want to be locked in for 22 consecutive hours.
right, yeah, yeah.
Very cool.
So
well, you want to tell everybody where they can find? I mean, you have a lot going on. Your escape room, your Halloween thing.
yeah,
You as
with
a director.
KO, well, it's actually a rare shirt on. CAYO Industrial .com is where I kind of hub all my creative stuff together. You can find the escape room there. You can find Necropath there. I have a link for Necropath and a link for the Halloween attraction. Everything's located in upstate New York. So if you live in the Northeast, we're always doing random days for the escape room, stuff like that, if you're looking for theatrical kind of experience. But Necropath, it's available on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, Vimeo, Xbox. I think it's pretty much everywhere now.
Nice. Good distribution.
So, yeah, they did a hell of a job. So,
how about your socials or anything? Do you promote that?
Necropath is on Facebook too, and the Atrophy Escape Words on Facebook. I mainly focus on Facebook for everything as opposed to like Instagram. We do have Instagram accounts for those too, but I mainly update a lot on Facebook. So,
all right,
so I
cool.
think you search, just search Necropath horror film, then will pop up. So.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come on. It was a very unique movie. I really liked it. It was, like I was saying, you experience it and you don't just watch it, which I thought was a really nice change of pace.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people say like even the audio in the film too, you could feel the cringiness of while you're watching it. So it's perfect.
Yeah, it's not when you like kick back and relax too. It kind of keeps you engaged, which is awesome.
Nice.
All right. Well, thanks again. Everybody check out Necropath. You definitely should. I appreciate it. Take care.
Thanks a lot, Adam.
I want to thank Josh one more time for coming on the show and talking to us. It was really cool to be able to check out his movie. He's a really interesting guy. If you are in the New York area, keep on the lookout for his KO Industrial experience. Hopefully he gets to open this year again. And definitely check out Necropath on VOD. Also, make sure you listen to So Wizard Podcast every single week wherever you get your podcasts. SoWizardPodcast.com is your resource for reviews, recommendations, merchandise, and more. So Wizard Podcast can also be found on Patreon, where for as little as $1 a month, you get multiple monthly bonus shows. We love hearing feedback. Draw us in the comments or leave us something on social media. And before I forget, please remember to like and subscribe. A ton more interviews and a ton more new movie coverage coming your way. We're getting so much in, I can't keep up with it, which is an awesome place to be. Thanks again.